Good evening, and I'd like to welcome everybody to the August 10th meeting of the St. Mary's County Planning Commission. There are two sign-in sheets located in the foyer for tonight's hearing. One is for all attendees, and one is specifically for those who wish to speak during a case. If you plan to speak or would like to receive follow-up information related to these cases, please ensure you sign the appropriate sheet. Thank you. Please note that this meeting is being recorded as part of the public record. All comments must be captured on the record. If you wish to speak, you must do so using one of the provided microphones. All comments, questions, or responses must be directed to the board. Thank you, ma'am. The board will then address or refer them to the appropriate party. Please limit your remarks to 3 minutes or less. Anyone wishing to testify or ask questions during our public hearings must take an oath. When speaking, please do so clearly and directly into the microphone. Lastly, we kindly ask that you silence your cell phones to avoid any disruptions. And thank you for your cooperation. On our agenda this evening, after a review and approval of the August 3rd minutes, we'll have an approval of the resolution recommending the approval of the draft of the St. Mary's 2050 plan. Following that, we have one case this evening. It's for a concept site plan, CSP 24-0443 for the House of Disciples. Following that, any new business and adjournment. I'll let the board members introduce themselves, starting with Mr. St. Clair. Good evening, sir. Glad
Good
to have
evening,
you.
everyone. Joe St. Clair.
Good evening, Lynn Delahaye.
Patty Robrecht.
Howard Thompson.
Joe Van Kirk.
Jay Cousineau.
Connor Lochran.
Okay. Also with us this evening we have the Deputy Director of the Department of Land Use and Growth Management, Brandy Glenn. We have our Planner 3, Sean Lay Blasco, and we have our Senior Planning Specialist, Megan Higgs Carter. Also with us from the county, we have our Deputy County Attorney, Mr. John Sterling Hauser. We have the Director of the Department of Public Works and Transportation, Mr. John Norris III. From the St. Mary's County Metropolitan Commission, we have Anna Wells. And our video media producer this evening is Amy Carter. I think I got them all. Okay. Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes from August the 3rd?
Motion to approve the minutes?
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Thank you, sir. Write that on here. Okay. And then next we have for the approval of the resolution recommending the draft of the St. Mary's County 2050 plan. Did everybody see that?
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, please.
I move to adopt the proposed resolution recommending the comprehensive plan to the Commissioners of St. Mary's County as set forth in Attachment A.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
I thought we voted on that.
Yes, we did, but I signed it tonight, so I just have to have another approval to send it down the line.
Oh.
Okay?
So the motion is just to approve for your signature.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I mean, y'all don't have to if you don't want to.
Hmm.
Okay?
Not-
Jay Cousineau,
Aye.
y'all behave down there. Mr. Van Kirk,
Aye.
Ms. Robert,
No.
okay. Ms. Delahaye,
No.
Mr. St. Clair, I think you're going to be abstaining on that,
I'll
aren't
have to abstain.
you? Okay. Mr. Lochran,
Aye.
and I also vote aye. Thank you. Moving right along. Our first case of the evening. Let's see here. Okay. Before we get started, anybody that's going to be testifying this evening or have questions, if you would stand at this time, and I'll try to remember all of you, but I might wind up asking you if you come to the microphone if I swore you in. Everybody raise your right hands, and do you declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony, responses, and statements you may give will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Okay, thank you. Good evening, Sean Lane.
Good evening. In the agenda tonight is House of Disciple, CSP 24-0433. The applicant is seeking approval of the concept site plan for a 9,385 square feet church classified as religious assembly, use number 38. The location is on the 8th election district. The size of the site is 9.6 acres. The premise address is on the east side of Willows Road in Lexington Park. Land use plan is residential, medium density. It's in a Lexington Park development district. The zoning is RM, residential medium density. RM zoning district. The regulation for residential medium density district may consist of medium density residences with accommodation for preservation of open space. These are designated areas in the comprehensive plan. Religious assembly use is allowed subject to appropriate standards. Use number 38, religious assembly. The description is it's for religious worship, incidental religious education, not including private schools. It is a permitted use within this zoning district. The applicable regulations. Section 51.3.38, site plan approval will be required. Lighting plans shall be directed down and shall not be visible beyond property boundaries. The use is prohibited in the RNC. It's not applicable in this one. The use will not negatively impact the adjacent neighborhood. Overflow on-street parking will not cause hazard. The use will be housed in buildings that are architecturally compatible with other buildings in the surrounding area. Schedule 32.1, development standards. Base floor area ratio, landscaping minimum 15%, usable open space minimum 5% of development envelope, undeveloped open space minimum 50% of site area. Section 63, landscaping and buffer yard. Landscaping minimum 15% of site area. Buffer yard 65 feet, B-type buffer yard adjacent to parcel 346, 282, and 282 lot 1A. Buffer yards 32.5 feet, half of B-type buffer yard adjacent to parcel 387 and 648 and 282 lot 1A. Off-street parking is provided on site. Loading area is provided on site. Section 71, resource protection standard. Various resource protection standards required. There are existing non-tidal wetland and stream located on the property. An MDE permit is required prior to major site plan approval. Findings of Planning Commission required by Section 60.6.4 is consistent with the comprehensive plan and applicable functional plans, may be served by adequate public facilities, will promote health, safety, and welfare of the general public, adequately develop recreational and other community amenities, is consistent with CCO Section 62 design objectives. This concludes the staff report and is entered into the record of this public hearing as Exhibit 2. Mr. Hobson is here representing the applicant. Any question for me?
Anybody have any questions of staff?
Sean Lee, I don't really have a question, but while they're doing their presentation, if you could bring up the county GIS map, because I will have a couple questions about the surrounding properties. Just so
Yes.
we'll be at that point. Thank you.
I'm ready, I have it here.
Oh, I don't have the questions yet, but thank you very much.
Mr. Hobson?
I apologize. I put my notes on the slides and I can't read them from there.
Could you give us your name and business? You don't have to give a street address, but just
Sure.
tell us where you're at.
My name is Jay Hobson. I'm the engineer of record for this project. I'm here tonight along with Pastor Briscoe of International House of Disciples to present the concept development plan for the new worship center on Willows Road in Lexington Park. Tonight, I'll walk you through the site, the proposed building, parking layout, our utility approach, including the already approved public sewer waiver, and how the concept complies with the applicable zoning environmental standards. At the end, we're asking for your approval of the concept plan so we can move forward into detailed site plan engineering. This aerial shows the parcel in context. It's a 9.6 acre site on Willows Road in Lexington Park. The site is currently vacant and zoned RM. As you can see from the imagery, the property is heavily wooded with an existing residential neighborhood to the west, along the cul-de-sac, and to the north of the stream and the northern property line. Our proposed development, the building footprint and parking layout you see already overlaid on this exhibit, sits towards the front of the site along the road frontage, preserving the majority of the wooded acreage to the rear and to the interior of the parcel. The proposed worship center is 9,385 square feet with a building height of just under 36 feet. Our setbacks meet the 35-foot front increase from the base 25 for the major collector on Willows Road, along with 10-foot side yards and 20-foot rear yards. The ordinance requires one space per 3 fixed seats, which works out to 72 spaces for our proposed seating capacity. We're providing exactly 72 spaces, 68 standard plus 4 ADA spaces. I just lost my place. Site access has been designed to the county's private road design vehicle standards, which is a WB30. Will cover circulation and trip generation and road capacity in detail on the next couple of slides. A quick word on circulation before we get to traffic capacity. The site has a single point of vehicular access from Willows Road designed to the county's private road standard. A 30-foot single-unit truck design vehicle under subdivision ordinance 30.14.5A that covers emergency delivery and service vehicles without requiring dead-end maneuvering anywhere on site. Internally, a loop drive connects the entrance, parking areas, and buildings. And we've confirmed adequate site distance at the entrance onto Willows Road, given its major collector classification. On the pedestrian side, walkways connect parking directly to the main entrance with a full ADA accessible route from all 4 accessible spaces, and landscape islands help define safe pedestrian crossings through the parking areas. Turning to road capacity, Willows Road, fronting the site, is classified as major collector with a 60-foot right-of-way. As of April 2025, it carries an average daily traffic volume of 3,772 vehicles with a peak hour volume of 400. The county's minimum required level of service here is a level of service D. We had Traffic Concepts Inc. conduct turning movement counts at the 2 intersections that bracket our access: Willows Road at Colby Drive and Maryland 5 at Willows Road. Both intersections operate at a level of service A today in both the morning and evening peak hours. That's the best possible rating, well above the level of service D minimum the county requires. Our proposed worship center is expected to generate about 64 additional weekday trips. Given that both intersections are operating at a level of service A with significant reserve capacity, that additional traffic is not expected to push either intersection below the required level of service. The existing road network has the capacity to absorb this project. Public water is available to the site and will connect via directional drilling to the existing 12-inch ductile iron main along Willows Road. The parcel carries a comprehensive water and sewer plan water category of W3D, service in 3 to 5 years, developer financed. Our water design is based on 1 gallon per day per seat, 231 gallons per day for 231 seats, well under the 3 EDU allocation cap Metcom applies to worship centers. On sewer, the parcel's comprehensive water and sewer plan sewer category is S3D, the same 3 to 5 year development finance designation. The county has already approved a waiver from public sewer connection for this parcel. Sewer waiver WAS W24-0336 was approved September 4th, 2024. Connection is not required. We're proposing on-site septic system behind the building instead. A few reasons septics make sense. First, at 9.6 acres, the parcel has more than enough area for both primary septic and a reserve area if needed. Second, our design flow of 231 gallons per day, the same 1 gallon per seat basis we use for water, is consistent with what a septic system can reliably handle. Third, unlike a residential subdivision with continuous daily use, the worship center's peak demands happen during limited weekly service hours, Sunday services, occasional evening events, but not around-the-clock use. The geotechnical investigation, perk test, and soil suitability confirmation have been completed for the sewage reserve area. On stormwater, we're proposing an open drainage system, vegetated swales, and sheet flow rather than an enclosed pipe network, consistent with the wooded, low-density character of the site. All swales and outfalls are designed to discharge at a velocity that won't cause erosion downstream. Design will follow the 2000 Maryland Stormwater Design Manual and the County Stormwater Management Grading, Erosion, and Sediment Control Ordinance, covering both recharge and water quality volume through environmental site design. A few environmental points worth highlighting. The site is entirely located in Zone X per the current FEMA maps, meaning it's not within a mapped floodplain. It also lies outside the Chesapeake Bay critical area, so critical area buffer and development restrictions do not apply here. Of the 9.6 acre parcel, our total disturbed area is limited to 3.3 acres. The majority of the site, including the wooded interior, remains undisturbed. In open space and tree requirements, we had exceeded the minimum across the board. 0.19 acres of usable open space against 0.07 acre requirement, 6.35 acres of undeveloped open space against 4.8 acre requirement, and all 14 required trees provided within the parking lot planting islands. Two more environmental features I want to flag directly. There's an intermittent stream along the northerly property boundary and a separate non-tidal wetland area with its own 25-foot buffer near the site's interior. Under the county zoning ordinance, section 71.4.2.A1 establish a mandatory 50-foot buffer measured from each bank for intermittent streams outside of the critical area. Separately, the wetlands shown on our concept plan carry their own 25-foot buffer. Both are shown accurately on our approved concept plan and will continue to confirm field classification and delineation with Lugum Soil Conservation District and MDE as necessary. This slide summarizes everything we've covered in one place. As you can see, every required standard is either met or exceeded. We're not requesting any zoning variances. In summary, we're asking Commission for approval of the concept development plan as presented. Pastor Briscoe and I are happy to answer any questions the Commission may have. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Does anybody have any questions?
I just had a few. Just want to make sure I understand, sir. It said there 64 weekday trips, but you only have a capacity for 72 parishioners, right? Seats, 72.
Parking spaces will equal to, per the ordinance, will be 230 folks. It's 3 seats per space.
So what is the population, if you will, of the,
Our population
ministry.
currently
Pastor,
is
before you
regrowing.
get started,
I'm
before you
sorry?
get started, just give us your name and I
Yes.
don't need your street address,
Yes.
but your town address, please.
Henry Briscoe.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you,
Pastor
sir.
of the House of Disciples. We are coming out of the pandemic, losing a lot of older people, but we are trying to regrow the church. So to answer your question, if I had to say about 40 attending,
every day?
no,
just
Sunday,
the
Sunday
service.
services, and,
Okay.
and we're hoping to get back to Bible study because the pandemic changed things, and Tuesday evening prayer for our community.
So 64 weekday trips that's not daily, that's
There's 11 peak hour trips.
11, okay, yeah. Which is minimal. I was just trying to get a.
No, I understand. You're trying to get the ratio
Understanding.
of the traffic.
The traffic, yeah.
We're well under that.
Right,
As he
I was
put in the
thinking it
numbers,
would
we
be.
are well under that, and the hours as well.
Right.
Because we only have an hour and a half on Tuesday evening and for prayer, and we only have maybe a couple hours for Bible study on Thursday nights.
Right.
Sunday, most people are in bed or chilling out or eating breakfast anyhow, so nobody's going to church mostly. So, yeah. So it's we're not bothering anybody on that road. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I had a couple, that was a couple of the ones that I had also about the, I wasn't sure how big your congregation was now.
Yep.
Didn't seem to be a lot of parking. Well, like I said, I wasn't sure how large, what you had. It seems to be a large building for the seating. Are you planning on doing, what does that building consist of? Is it all pews and altar space, or is it offices?
It consists of a sanctuary. It's used for religious, for worship. That's the sole purpose of it. We do reserve the right to use it for other things if need be, based on being Christians and the vision from the plan from our God that we believe gives us the vision, just like any other church in St. Mary's County, which I happen to be a native of. So with that being said, it has a sanctuary space, what Jay said, 200 and something seating. We have offices, we have classrooms, we have space. We have a fellowship hall for us to gather, so we don't have to, and it'll be chairs more than likely. We don't want to do the pews.
I guess why I'm asking is because it's not going to be a rental hall where I can call you and say, I'm having a birthday party for 500 people. Can I rent your hall out? Because the seating the parking wouldn't be adequate
Yes, sir.
for that. That's why I was asking about the size of the
We are
building
not
and
for
stuff.
profit, so you can't rent us. We're a Christian organization.
Well, I understand that, but a lot of churches rent out things to people.
I can testify here to put on record, before I'm a black male, a husband, a father, before I'm an American, before I'm a pastor, I'm a Christian, and I'm going to follow the Bible. I'm not religious, I'm a Christian. We are not for service or hire or for money.
Okay.
Okay?
Let's see. The plan mentioned if there was overflow on-street parking couldn't disrupt anything, where would that be?
There's not going to be any parking on Willows Road for sure. There is a plan in the future or with the site plan to make the crossing of the wetland, to make that disturbance and put that road in, because in the future, they plan on clearing a little spot back there for a pavilion for picnics and overflow parking and that sort of thing.
The only
But it's
reason I ask is I know quite a few churches that in the past have had parking everywhere. They've even expanded some of their parking, because the one up to where I live on 235 in Oakville is they've had to expand their parking twice. You know, they have a huge amount of people.
That's a good problem.
Yes, yes, but as you can see from the community, we're worried about the parking overflow.
Correct. You're worrying about the parking overflow on the road,
Sure.
not in the private place of the church.
Sure.
That has plenty of ample parking.
Right.
Correct?
Well, it's got parking for 72 cars.
Yes, in those areas, but as he says, we're going to have the road going down, we can park on the side of there. But right now, we're going to focus on what we've got here, but as Jay said, in the master plan, we plan to make sure that that building is put and implemented in there now, so we don't have to come back and deal with this later. We love you people, good people, but we don't want to come back and deal with this again. It will already be in the plans. Good deal?
Let's see.
I'm
Jay,
just laughing with
I have
you.
one more question. Jay, does all the, where does the water go? Is it all absorbed in vegetative swales?
No,
Like
there's a
mentioned in the
vegetated
plan?
swale, and then there's going to be a submerged gravel wetland. And the submerged gravel wetland situated over near the wetland, because obviously the high water table.
Is that back toward the woods?
Yes.
Where the woods is?
Correct.
And that just dissipates through the
It will.
ground, or does it go to a drain, or?
Nope, it goes right through a grass weir wall or a grass spillway into the stream itself.
Okay.
And then that'll have to be analyzed during site development to make sure that we're not causing any problems downstream where we have to manage on site. We have ample room up there where the pond is to expand it if it becomes necessary for quantity control.
And the pond is on this property?
Yes.
Yes. Where is it at is it back in the wooded area, you said? Is it close to the property lines of the other people, or?
Sheet 7's the best one to see.
Okay.
So right there, you can see the building, and then north of there is the stormwater management, submerged gravel wetland.
Uh-huh.
And then it'll discharge into the stream that runs along the property. Now in the back, over here, there's a grass swale behind the building. It treats the parking lot and then discharges into the wetland on the side, and then drains down to the stream as well.
What's the topography back there?
Pardon?
What's the topography back there?
About 6 or 8% slopes. It's not too bad back there.
Coming toward the church or going
Toward
toward
the stream.
toward the stream?
It's a hill from the southerly property line down to the northerly property line.
All right, I
Probably
think
about a 25-foot fall.
And one more question, more for Sean. Sean Lee, the lots that they were talking about that meets the buffer requirements, I'm assuming they're just all the ones surrounding the property that are being left already wooded on your property, what could be left wooded? Is that
Yes.
they surround that way? Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, that is the hope, to keep a buffer between all of our neighbors, because the main thing we want to be is good neighbors.
Sure.
On the right side of us, there are a few houses, 5 to 7, I believe. Pembroke is all behind us. We don't know what we're getting coming from that large neighborhood.
Right.
And then we have a couple houses to the left of us. But we want to preserve their space and ours by keeping a buffer between all properties.
All right, that's all I had.
Anybody else have any questions?
Any questions, Joe?
Will there be an area for signage?
Signage will be right at the entrance. It'll probably be a monument sign.
Okay.
I do have one. Is the outfall from the parking lot heading to the stream, is that unapproved stormwater management?
Is the stormwater management approved?
You're showing the outfall heading to the stream. You said it's a grass well?
Yes. It's a grass outfall channel.
Okay.
So what happens is the water collects, and then there's a flow splitter in that pipe there. So the stormwater quality volume goes to the stormwater pond, to the grass outfall.
Okay, that is a grass outfall. Okay.
I have a question. At your entranceway, is that a decel and
Yeah,
And curbing?
Minor XL diesel.
a decel and XL? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And curbing and all that'll be,
Yeah, it'll have to be curbed up there.
Line of sight was very important for us and Department of Public Works because it comes around that bend.
Yeah.
So that's why we wanted to make sure we had those measures in place.
okay, thank you. Mr. Hobson, this is a good presentation.
Thank you.
I helped them.
You helped him? Good.
I was an engineer before. Before all this, I was an engineer, yeah.
No.
Is there any other questions? No. Okay. I'll go ahead and open it up to public testimony at this time. I'm going to go down the sheet that I have, and then if there's anybody else that wants to speak, you can. If I don't remember you doing the oath, I'll ask you. Pastor Briscoe, you want to say something?
Yes, just that, again, we want to be good neighbors. So all who have concerns, I understand the concerns. We went through a long process to get this done right. During the pandemic, while most were sitting at home, I was working with the county's, what is that again?
Technical, the pre-app.
Pre-app meeting, which nobody really uses in St. Mary's County anymore. So I worked for 6 months with every agency to talk to them about our project and to get their add-ons and what they thought was best. After doing that for 6 months with each individual agencies, from Lugum to everyone else involved, we had a pre-app meeting. And we had a pre-app meeting, and it went so well that they said these words. At the end, I said, is this it? Is this what I heard? Horror stories about this. And they said, no. And somebody said, best pre-app meeting ever. And I said, well, thank you. Thank you. We tried to do everything the right way, the respectful way, and to put it in the hands of our local agencies like Lugum and the rest of the folks who sign off on this, and all of them signed off on it. And then we put it in the hands of you guys at the Board of Commissions to hear the professionals and what they say. So I understand people have concerns and they have right to have concerns. We live in a capitalist country where supply and demand is. If there's a demand, somebody's going to supply it. That property sat there for a long time, and everyone else had a right to purchase it, but we purchased it. And we did the right things. The Bible says, obey the law of the land, and we try to do that, and to be good neighbors, and we will be good neighbors. And so I reserve a little bit of my time after the comments, if that's okay with you guys. Just a little bit of my time to say a couple words. Okay.
Okay. Next one on the list is Mr. Sevilla.
Good evening. I didn't have really anything planned. It was just based on what
sorry.
transpired.
I'm sorry, sir. Can I just get your name and the town you live in? I don't need your
Tony
street
Sevilla,
address.
you mentioned my name.
Yes.
Yeah, Lexington Park.
right.
I live on I'll tell you, I live on the corner of Colby Drive and Willows Road. I met the pastor some time ago when he was staking his property. And he mentioned that he was building a church, and I won't, it won't interfere with me, and it's going to have a soup kitchen. And he said that a couple of times, and it took me by surprise, and that's why I'm here now. But I don't see anything in writing about any soup kitchen. Is that different than just a church?
Okay. I'll ask him about that when you get done.
Also, there's been 2 deaths on Willows Road in the past, let's say 5 or 6 years, right on the corner of coming out of, right across from us? Yeah, Hunting Creek and Willows Road. They come high speed off that corner. And I'm doubting that traffic scheme right now. There's still vacant homes. I mean, there's still homes being built around there. This was supposed to be a big, $100,000 home community all through Willows Road, a whole revitalization. And you got Lancaster Park, which is a prized piece of property starting off on Willows Road. And to me, if it is a soup kitchen, that brings a little bit more to the area. Now, I can't see the big parking spots with a congregation of 40 right now. It might not get better or bigger. That's all.
You got questions? Okay. Would you like to make a comment about the?
I'm sorry.
Good.
What about overnight security? I mean, is there people watching the parking lot? Are they watching that area? The area is secluded, the entrance is, but when you get back behind that boundary of woods, who's monitoring that at night?
Okay.
You mean, you got some high-dollar developments right there bordering, and the future to build more, but I think it puts a strain when you put a church with a soup kitchen in the middle of it. That's it.
You like me to?
I'm going to let you address that.
Yes, I went over to be a good neighbor and told him we were staking and introduced myself as the pastor and told him we wanted to be good neighbors. And in doing so, I just gave him a little bit of who we were as a church. I never stated that we were going to be a soup kitchen there. As a matter of fact, the soup kitchen started in our first church where they tore down the rural farms at, where Dana McGarity and myself, and I was the co-director. I left my engineering position to help run the soup kitchen. And then I moved it over to where our church is now, up on Good Sam's campus. And then Bubby Knott gave us the property down on Route 5, the brass rail. So that was a miscommunication. I don't know if it was on my part or the gentleman's part, but that's not what I said. I gave him who we were. We are a community church. But as I said to this board before and all who were present here, we reserve the right within the law to be a religious organization to help our community.
Okay. And the security? Would you like to make a
Security,
comment?
I don't know a church that has security at night.
Are you going to have any type of cameras or anything like that?
We plan to do that, yes.
Okay.
Yes, we plan to, and as far as the only having 70-something parking spaces for only 40 people, again, our plan is to grow. Every church's plan is to grow. And with saying that, please tell me, with saying that in the growth, who cares about what person has on their property? If they want to get a hut, on 20 acres, they can put a hut on 20 acres. It's not for the general public to say what they put on there if they meet the requirements. So for the community, anyone, myself included, to speak to anyone else's property and say, well, they're going to have this much space and they don't need all those parking spaces, that's not for you to say.
Okay. I just wanted to
Yes, sir.
get those 2 points. Thank you, sir.
But I have a question about that.
Okay.
You didn't really answer the question, though, about the soup kitchen. You said that you reserved the right to serve the community there, and I understand that. It is your right.
No, I said first that we are not planning to put a soup kitchen on the property.
Okay, I don't
But we
remember that.
reserve the right to help our community if our neighbors need help, if they come to the church. Again, we are one of the only churches to be on the soup kitchen every month, twice a month sometimes, for 30 years.
Look, I'm not saying it's
No,
bad or good.
No,
I'm just saying
you
that
missed, I think, Mr. Van Kirk, you missed the part where I said we have no plans to put a soup kitchen on the property.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You currently do one, though, but not there.
No, we are with St. Mary's Caring.
Oh, I got you.
Yes, sir. Where we started it in our church, where it was St. Mary's Caring. It was the two nuns turned it over to Dana McGarity. I came on board, then I resigned from engineering and became the co-director and been there ever since. I'm not the co-director anymore, but we serve and I'm a advisor to them, and we just go there and feed people. So we don't need to reinvent the wheel. It's being done.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Cowan, or Mrs. Cowan, I'm sorry. Ladies before gentlemen.
Good evening. I'm Mrs. Cowan, and everybody knows I live in Lexington Park. This is a difficult speech for me to do because I sweared I was only going to tell you the truth. But there's some things here that are my personal feelings. Okay? Joe, is that, am I not in the mic okay?
There you go.
Thank you very much for helping me
ma'am.
with that. You know, Pastor, I've never met the pastor before, but I know of him. And tonight he just testified to us that we would not have a soup kitchen, an excellent one like we have, had he not made the efforts to have that happen. This is a gentleman who's worked for years to make this county have what it needed. And all he's asking for is to take his small congregation, and it's on a small church, I think across from the middle school in that area, and move them to a nicer site. And I think that's the least we can do for him. And I ask you to please vote for this concept. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cowan. Mr. Cowan?
Troy Cowan, the old man of Lexington Park. And thank you again for this opportunity to address this esteemed body. I applaud the work that the Planning Commission does. I also want to applaud all the attendance we have at this evening's meeting. This is glad to see the participation. When I look at this concept plan, it fits in perfectly with the Lexington Park Development District Plan. And thank you for doing that. I encourage everybody to keep that in mind as we start to reassess and refine the Lexington Park Development District Plan into an implementation plan. And that's going to start here shortly, so please continue your participation. The only comment I would have about the plan is I would encourage you to consider hooking up to Metcom sewer rather than doing an independent septic system. And I say that because long-term, that's a much more reliable approach. And my guess is you're going to grow down there and you're rapidly going to exceed what your original septic system might have been built for. I can see a Boys and Girls Club going in your facility. I can see some YMCA extension classes going into your facility, some of the Rocksteady. This project is in a prime location to serve the community, and thank you so much for bringing it forward. Thank you.
Okay, that's all, excuse me, that's all I had on the sign-in list. Was there anybody else? Okay, then at this time, I'll go ahead and close down public testimony, and I'll open it back up to the board.
Can I, the couple minutes that I said would like to reserve at the end?
I'll give you a couple
Would that be a
minutes.
problem? I want to speak personally to everyone who came and who has concerns. I understand your concerns. I really do. I'm a native of St. Mary's County, so is my wife, born and raised here. I'm not only part of the soup kitchen, I've been with the prison ministry for 30 years here and Eastern Shore. I was first pastor of the missions and still spiritual advisor to the missions, the homeless shelter. Pastor of King's Christian Academy and on the board, and at Great Mills for the mentorship program in Spring Ridge. We are an outreach church, trying to make our community better, helping our neighbors.
Miss,
But we don't want to.
you need to talk to us, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. We don't want to bring it any trouble. We want to be good neighbors again, while at the same time, the same letters that you guys get, I get, because I'm your neighbor. I live at the end of Willows Road, the second house at the bottom of Willows Road on the right.
Speak to us, sir.
So the same letters that you get, I get. If you live in Pembroke or any place else on that road, or Ranieri Run directly across my property, I'd say again, I worked on Willows Road as an engineer, built my home and retired after 4 months being in our home with a young wife and a young son, with a 30-year mortgage, still with the ink still wet. And I trusted my calling. With that being said, all the letters that you guys get, I've gotten. We've got 200 and something, I believe, if you guys can correct me, townhouses going 1 minute from my house. But I never came up to Leonardtown or opposed anything, because I believe as long as people are doing things right, and we have you guys who are on these boards for our county, which we pray for, if you're doing your job and being honorable, then things are going to be done right, and they will work out. So I get the same letters that you guys get. I am your neighbor on Willows Road. I've been there for 25 years. So I get it. I get tired of getting the letters, too, that there's something else. My wife and I used to walk every evening on Willows Road because there was nothing hardly there. But I didn't complain, because people need places to live. Businesses need things to operate in, and so I get it. And so I will pray for your concerns. We're going to try to do our best to be a good neighbor, and I ask you guys to humbly, we did the right things.
Okay.
And so I leave it to you. Thank you.
All right, I'll go ahead and close all the rebuttal up and open it back up to the board for their deliberations. Anybody want to make any comments?
I got one comment. The zoning property that's around it, is there anything that would put a restriction on the property that's around it?
It's RM. It's the same zoning.
Brandy, you want to comment on that? Is that all the same zoning all around it?
Yes.
For the most part, yes. It doesn't put any restrictions on this property. The religious assembly is allowed in this zoning district.
Okay. Okay.
They built the Ranieri Run across the street, and then they put that there for RM. They were going to build again, who we got the property from, bought the property from. And so we knew we could build there. That's why we went.
Any other comments from the board?
I think it's a pretty nice plan.
Yeah, I think they went.
My opinion. I appreciate the pastor's
Passion.
passion. I honestly do. So I like to see
Some
that.
people call it crazy. I call it
No, I
passion.
don't call it that, because I always ask a lot of questions.
Yes, sir. No.
So I do appreciate.
No dumb questions, only dumb answers.
I don't think it's a bad fit for the property. So, I mean,
Okay,
I'd like to move forward with the motion.
please.
In the matter of concept site plan number CSP 24-0443, House of Disciples, having accepted the staff report, having made a finding that objectives of section 60.6 of the comprehensive zoning ordinance have been met, I move the concept site plan be approved with the following conditions. A, any road improvement required by the state and county must be concurrent with the issuance of the certificate of occupancy.
Second.
Yeah, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, we'll do roll call. Jay?
Aye.
Joe?
aye.
Patty?
Aye.
Lynn?
Aye.
Joe St. Clair?
Aye.
Connor?
Aye.
Also vote aye. You said a really good thing in there.
Sir?
You're always worried about your neighbors.
Yes, sir.
That's one of my It's one of my things that I go to all the time. Mr. Hobson can tell you that. So I appreciate all that you've done,
Thank you.
and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Reverend, keep the fire in your belly.
Got to do it. Yes, sir. Got to do it. Thank you guys very
Thank
much.
you.
God bless
Thank
you.
you.
We're praying for you as you take care of our community.
Thank you.
We need it.
Yes, sir, we need it. All right, was there any other business this evening? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you all, appreciate it.